During the 50s, it was common to use a foundation that was your skin tone, or you can use a slightly darker foundation as well. Using a powder to set the foundation was also very common during this time. Using blush to contour your face was also very popular. This gave a more natural, healthy glow, and it also enhanced your natural features. The brows in the 50s were a little bit thicker in the front and then were thinner towards the tail. For this, I'm using a brow pencil and I'm filling in the front of my brows a little bit thicker than I normally would today. Then, once I get to the tail, I'm making it thinner than I would, and I'm just cleaning this up because I made it a little bit too thick as well. For my eyes, I just took a brown shadow and applied that all the way on my lid. I didn't take it all the way up to my brow bone because that wasn't the typical thing to do, so I just blended it out to make it look nice and then added more so it would be the color that I wanted. And then I went ahead and applied a brown liner. Brown was the common color for women who had blonde hair, and since I kind of have blonde hair, I decided to do that. I also added a wing because that was a new cool touch that they had. For lips, I'm going to line my lips and then fill them in. And for this, the lips were natural looking and also a little bit more rounded. Then I'm going to curl my eyelashes and then apply a brown mascara, once again because I have blondish hair. That women in that time would use a brown mascara. During the 1960s, eyes was the main focus of the makeup. For this look, I'm going to be doing the Twiggy look from the 60s. I chose this because I thought it was very different from the previous decades before this. It was more outgoing and they had a little bit more fun with the makeup. For this, they would typically have a dark black in the crease, just sketched out, no blending, and then they would put a light color on the lower lid. Typically, this was a white, but it could also be a pastel purple, blue, or green. It really depended on what you were feeling and what you wanted to do that day. So now I'm applying a white shimmery shadow onto the lid, and then on top of that, after this, I'm going to be putting on a cream colored shadow just to make it pop a little bit more because the white shimmer shadow was not as opaque as I would like it to be. Then after this, I'm going to go back in with the black and touch up the crease to make it pop a little bit more. Now I'm going to be applying a black liquid liner onto my lid. Next, I'm curling my eyelashes and then I'm going to prime them with the mascara primer that came with my mascara and then putting on mascara. I used black because this made your eyelashes stand out more. Now, the foundation and base makeup of the 1960s was very understated because they wanted the eyes to be the main focus. So they kept it a pretty natural base and kind of made it a little bit more pale just so the eyes would pop a little bit more. Then applying powder to the face to set it. Blush was then applied to the temple and hairline and underneath the jaw to give a more natural looking glow. For the brows in the 60s, they were kept more natural. You could fill them in with a brow pencil, or like I'm doing, I'm filling them in with just a shadow that is my natural brow shade. And this would just define them a little bit more than they are naturally. On the lower lash line, they would apply liner to mimic fake lashes. This would just help create a more cartoonish look and also bring more focus to the eyes in general. In addition, mascara will be put on the bottom lashes as well. During this time, the lips were kept more natural and understated since the main focus was the eyes. During the 70s, the makeup was kept more natural looking, but they also were very tan during that period, so I went in with a slightly darker foundation just to mimic that tan that they had. So then I decided that this was a little bit too dark for me, so then I went in with a lighter foundation and just blended this out to be the main natural looking type of foundation. Then I'm applying a powder just to set the face. Also in the 70s, they like to use bronzer, so I just took a powder that was one shade darker than my normal skin tone, and I just used that to bronze. Then a peachy toned blush would be applied to give a more healthy glow to the cheeks. During the 70s, their eyes were more plucked and thin, so I just brushed them down and then applied a brow powder. For eyeshadow, I'm just using a shade that is a little bit darker than my skin tone, and then I'm applying a cream colored on the lower lid and blending that all out. Then I'm curling my eyelashes and then applying my mascara primer and then my mascara. During the 70s, any lip color was allowed, so I just decided to go in with a peach liquid lipstick, but then over top of it, I decided to put on a gloss, because during the 70s, they also liked lots of glosses as well.